Welcome to my channel. So we have officially moved to the Netherlands, guys, and we are super excited to be here. Without giving too much away, we now live in the south of Holland, and we absolutely love our new neighborhood and our new apartment, but I want to save that for the next few vlogs. So for now, I just want to close the chapter on the UK and show you what we got up to in our last week before move day. When I first set out to film this video, I really wanted to capture all of the moving, the packing, just the actual move day as well, but it just was not possible. With all that was happening and all that we had to do without having any real help, a Yorkie, and throw an 8-month-old baby into the mix, and setting up a camera and filming just was not on the top of the priority list at that time. But I definitely have a good story to tell you about our absolutely stressful move day. So if you want to find out how that went and you want to see what we got up to in our last week, please keep watching. Raphael's whining a lot. This is the bedroom currently. I'm just gonna go turn around by the door so you can see. So as you can see, we have dismantled the bed. Hello, sweetheart. And we are sleeping on the floor, and we will be for the next 2 nights. And this wardrobe is the house's, so it'll remain here. Sorry, I don't want you to see all the mess that I have. So yeah, so it'll stay here. It's not gonna be moved or anything. They cleaned the carpets yesterday and it was looking fab yesterday, and today it just kind of looks normal, so I don't know. See, that's where the cot was, and it's been dismantled. There are no curtains on the windows because it was picked up from the dry cleaners yesterday. I'm sure you're aware of that. So if we go inside here, just in the landing, it was also clean, which now today just looks a lot dirtier than it did yesterday for some reason. Pretty strange. Come, sweetheart. Okay, when I said this was empty, it's probably not that empty. So as you can see, the floor is completely empty. I'm just gonna go back like this. That's gonna stay here, the headbox. It doesn't fit through the loft, it belongs to the house. The desk belongs to the house, so that will remain here. These are just a few things we need to take down, but this room is pretty much going to be closed up today after we've hung the curtains back up. That's now in the living room, and then just wipe all the dirty marks from the wall, and then that'll be it for this room. Just see what Raphael's doing. Are you still okay? Do you want to come with Mummy? Come. I'm worried you fall off this very high bed. Uppy, uppy, uppy. There we go. Okay, let's show them the rest of the place. So the bathroom is pretty much packed up. Those things on the sill just need to be added to the box once you're done using them. But I've packed pretty much everything into the box down there, so there's not much to do in the bathroom. This was in the second bedroom. This is now standing just behind the door. Fab. Morning, Fiona. Just try and move this. Okay, then the hot mess starts. These are just some boxes. Because we're moving our own things, we don't really have to like really box everything up, because we're gonna be packing our own van. Well, Renato is anyway. So a lot of things are just in black bags or in suitcases or just kind of bubble wrapped. This is basically the contents of our house, guys. We don't have loads of things because when we moved here, we obviously came with nothing. The unit is the house's, so this will stay here. The TV is ours. And all of this child's play will be, or Raphael's play corner or whatever, play area will be packed up. After some hard work today at home, we decided to come to the refreshment rooms, like a little pub close to where we live. We just took a little walk. Not that we have a choice, but because we sold our car, but we're just gonna come and have some dinner here tonight. We've never been here before, but it looks quite cozy, so hopefully we like it. Raspberry just for plain vanilla because I didn't feel like something, you know, it's actually not that big to be honest, but I'm pretty sure that it's really rich. Is it rich? Is it rich? That's fine. Oh my god. That's why I always order this, because it's fab. Okay, so move day. Move day actually started on the Saturday, even though we really didn't move until Sunday. But I say that it started on Saturday because Renato had left really early that morning to go to Amsterdam to go and collect the van that we would be transporting all our belongings in, basically. So we did do a DIY move, guys, for lack of a better term. We moved our own things, just because we had this move was not sponsored. So the cost was covered by ourselves, and we really wanted to keep it within a budget. So we decided that also because we have a Yorkie, they kind of charge exorbitant fees to fly the dog from one country to the next. I think it was something like 400 euros, which is ridiculous. So it just worked out to be more cost effective for us to hire a van, load all our own things and hop in there and then be on our way to the Netherlands. So what happened was Renato left that morning to Amsterdam to go and pick up the van. He then drove to the port in Hoek van Holland, got on the ferry, and then when the ferry docked in the UK, he then drove from there back to our house, which is around a 4 or 5 hour drive. Sorry guys, that's my file. You okay, my sweetheart? You okay? Okay then. Right, so Renato arrived back from Amsterdam early Sunday morning, around 2 a.m. in the morning. We then got up at 9 that morning, which was, in retrospect, pretty late to be getting up to start, trying to fit all of our things into a van, which is probably mistake number one, that we maybe should have been up at the crack of dawn. But he was really, really tired from having basically traveled an entire day and really just wanted to sleep. But anyway, we then started packing the van, and after about an hour of packing or so, he said to me, my heart just sank when this happened, guys. Like, he said to me, what else needs to go in? Because there's almost no more space left in the van. And at this point, the top floor there was something like 3 or 4 suitcases upstairs, 2 or 3 suitcases downstairs with things in. There was a bedside table. There were 2 bedside tables. There was a box full of crockery. There was a box with pots and pans. There was just an insane amount of things that still needed to fit into the van that apparently had no space. So we basically had to shift things around, repack a couple times to try and squeeze more things in, and we got more things in. And then our initial 2 p.m. Sort of cut-off time to be done with packing and to be ready to get in the van and actually drive to the ferry's port was, I think it was at 2 p.m., latest 3 p.m., and we just did not make that. I think 2 o'clock came and went, and 3 o'clock came and went, and we still had a house full of things and no space in the van. So please remember, we couldn't just like drive around the corner and go and get a bigger van. This van came from Amsterdam, so the van that we had was the van that we had to make sure everything fit into, and there was just no way that was happening. We also didn't want to miss the ferry, because if we missed the ferry, that meant we had to pay an extra, we had to pay a fee for an extra day of having the van. We would have had one less day to settle in and set up before Renato had to start his new job. We would have had to pay, at that time we thought that we would have had to forfeit our, basically the cost that we paid for us to be on the ferry, but obviously we know now that we could have just postponed it to the next day. But also we would have had to pay, the point is, it would have been an extra cost all in all. So we really wanted to try and make that ferry, because I mean, this was the day that we planned to leave, so we had to leave. And at this point, I had like no hope at this point. I definitely thought that we were not going to make the ferry, and I'm pretty sure at some point Renato actually said, we're not getting on the ferry today. Like, at some point we were just standing around not knowing what to do, because we had all these things that we needed to fit into the van, and it just did not fit. So out of desperation, around 4 o'clock, he was like, come, we need to leave in the next half an hour if we're going to make this boat, because the trip was about, the car ride was about 4.5 hours. So if we left at about 4:30, we would have still made it by 9 if it was like no obstruction on the road or that type of thing. And I was like, how are we gonna get all of this done like in 30 minutes? Like, and we still need to do like a final cleanup, because of course the floor and the counters were just stacked full of things. It was not possible to just clean up and that kind of thing. So guys, we had to pack in like a mad rush and out of desperation, and this is so embarrassing. I'm pretty sure the neighbors are watching us out of like a room in their house, but we were taking things out of boxes and just shoving them just like that, like cups, glasses, cutlery, you name it, clothes, whatever. We were taking it out of suitcases and out of boxes, and we were just shoving them in any hole that was available, because of course the actual box could not fit into the van, but there were gaps in between that, or spaces that were open, and we were just shoving things in there, trying to get as many of our belongings in the van as possible. But in the end, we ended up having to leave some things behind, which was fine. It wasn't anything that was too expensive or that was even new or that we couldn't easily replace, but it was a mad rush in that half an hour, and I was just up and down, hoovering, trying to clean up the floors, wiping down the surfaces, we were trying to move out the last of the trash, moving everything that we had left behind in the house into the shed for whoever wanted to take it, or whoever the new tenants were for them to take. We ended up all squeezing into the front part of the van that was also stacked with just bags and clothes and fruit bowls and just like anything you can think. It was, guys, it was horrendous. It was horrendous. At that time, we were so like mentally like just drained. We got into the van at about 4:45. Had to stop at the rental agent to just drop the keys off, and then realized that we only had one set because I had accidentally packed the second set of keys in somewhere. I had no idea where. And we finally got going, like en route to, I think it was Harwich or Harwich, or I don't know how they say it, but that was the port. And everything went fab up until like 34 kilometers away. We just came to an absolute like standstill on the motorway, and we had no idea why. And it was pretty clear at this time. I think it wasn't 10 o'clock yet. It might have been like 9:30. And we realized that if we did not start moving within minutes, we were definitely going to miss the ferry. And I was on the phone instantly trying to call them, trying to say that we're on our way. We're stuck in traffic. We don't know how long we're going to be staying here. Could they please make an exception and allow us entry onto the boat after the check-in had closed, because check-in opened at 10, closed at 10:15, and we just could not, we just had no idea whether we were actually going to make it by that time or not. And I think I made about 3 calls, and in the last call the lady just said, "Where are you guys?" And I said, "We're 5 minutes away, please don't leave without us." And of course we were rushing like mad to get there on time. Ended up in the wrong place. The GPS had sent us to a place that was not where the ferry was. We had to stop, ask for directions, drive back from where we came, stopped at a boom thinking that was the check-in, only to be told that it wasn't. Had to drive back to a different area to check in. And then at like 10:46 we got to the check-in counter. We handed over our passports. We were directed to our lane and shown our parking spot, and I could just have burst into tears at that point, guys, because I was like, holy shit balls, like holy shit balls. It was just a crazy day. But we eventually got onto the ship and got Fiona settled into her kennel and got to our cabin, took a shower, and just went to sleep. And there was just relief, guys. Relief that after this crazy day, we had finally made it onto the boat, and we were going to be arriving in the Netherlands 7 hours later. So that was our story. I am so sorry that I could not have shown you the actual video of this, but that was our story, and I am sure that we could have done so much better in terms of planning when it came to this move, to just have been able to avoid all of what happened. But it's over, and we can only learn from this. And so if you want to find out what my next 5 tips are for you if you are planning on moving, whether it's to another country or just to another city or just down the road, guys, these tips I'm sure are going to help. Okay, guys, so I'm going to be filming with Raphael right now because I've got a little fussy monkey on my hands. I think he's teething, so he's been a bit fussy this morning. So I'm just going to do the 5 tips really quickly with you without going into too much detail about it, and in no particular order they would be. Number 1, don't underestimate the amount of things you have. Seriously, we thought we had a handful of things and that we'd very easily be able to pack things into a van and just be on our way. But trust me, once you start to unpack your cupboards and pack them into boxes and put them in a central area in your house, you quickly realize how many things you actually really do have. So definitely don't underestimate the amount of things you have. Then number 2, I would say declutter, declutter, declutter. You don't want to be dragging things around with you from one house to the next. So definitely do a cleanup of your wardrobe, of your drawers and documentation, of just general things in your house that you no longer use, that you no longer need. Maybe donate them to charity, but definitely do a cleanup. Number 3, I'm going to say hire help. This is something I wish I had done. It really is expensive if you live in the UK in comparison to my home country, but you may pay something like 10 or 11 pounds per hour for someone to come and watch your child or to come and clean up, but definitely hire one of the two, because it just frees up time for you to just get on with the packing and get on with the moving and spend less time actually having to watch your child or having to clean up the house. Number 4, I'm going to say definitely make sure that you get the right size van. I know it's really hard to kind of guess or estimate or try and figure out what size van you need in relation to the amount of things in your house, but definitely take time, maybe do an inventory of all the things you have in your house and how many boxes you're going to fill, and then try and figure out what size van you need. We definitely had a van that was too small. We could have maybe gone one size up, but it is what it is, and we ended up having to leave things behind, and you don't want to have to do that. So definitely make sure that you get the right size van. And then lastly, I would say definitely have a strategy on how to pack the van. I know it sounds ludicrous, but it's one of those things where you just can't shove everything you have into a van and expect it to fit. You definitely have to have a strategy around how you're going to pack the van, what's going to go in first, what's going to go in last, and just how you're going to pack all of your things so that everything fits, because it's literally how you pack your van, literally the difference between whether everything fits or whether it doesn't. So definitely spend some time on trying to figure out how you're going to do that. So there you have it. Those are my 5 tips. I really hope that they can help you in your move, and I really hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week. Bye, or like the Dutch say, tot ziens.